The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, AJ Applegarth. What is up, man?
Not much, man. Not much. It's another week. Week is finally about over here, so get to do a pod and bring in the Friday feels, if you will. I think that's what the kids are saying these days. So
Probably not, but okay. You can make that up, but
whatever.
That's cool.
40. I don't care what kids say. So unless they're my own.
Okay. All right, man. Well, we got a good show for us tonight. We're going to be talking some ADP risers and fallers, some spring training position battles, and some of the unfortunate injury news that has come out of late. I'm getting creamed by it seems like, so that sucks. Before we continue, though, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to us and follow us wherever you watch or listen to us, YouTube, Periscope, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. We're there, and we appreciate your support. And, let's rock and roll. Let's bring in our guest, man, a guy who I've been needing to bring on for quite some time, Mike Kurland. Let's see if I'm pushing all the buttons today, so this is going to be bad. But Mike Kurland, what's up, man?
What is going on, man? Thank you for having me. Always fun to be a part of a live stream / podcast. And again, appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming to get you on the show. We've done what we did PitchCon in 2020 together. We did Podapalooza this year together, and I was like, why haven't I had this fool on my show, man? This guy's funny as hell, and he knows his stuff. And I realized what happened last year was I meant to have you on after PitchCon, and then, well, baseball didn't really happen, and we just transitioned right into football. So that was just unfortunate. But yeah, we remedied the situation this year, and we will make sure we keep it going. But let's have some fun, shall we? And do our beer of the week. AJ, do the honors.
Beer.
We usually have a Homer Simpson thing. You guys probably don't know that, but it's all good. All right. So, Mike, you are the guest of honor. Go ahead and share with us what you are sipping on tonight. Oh, did we lose Mike? Oh, we might have lost Mike.
Possibly.
All right. We'll figure this out. AJ.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and start. There it goes. All right. I am drinking quite possibly one of my favorite beers that is not really ever around in these parts, but I found 7 6-packs of it at the beer store by my old house down in Pasadena, Maryland. Shout out 177 Liquors, Mountain Road. Thanks for letting me clear out your stash of Three Floyds Brewing's Zombie Dust Undead Pale Ale. Cheers.
All right, good stuff, man. So I'm drinking a beer that I thought was fitting for the start of baseball season. It is a Triple Crossing Green Dreams. I figured,
Okay.
green, fields, things like that. Power Trip rebooting. So Mike will be back here in a second. So we'll just have to continue on here. But yeah, Green Dreams.
Okay. Shotgun on 3. 1.
Oh, good God,
2.
no. What's wrong with you? Didn't even give my review, dude. Yeah, no, it's a good beer, man. I think I gave it a 4 on Untapped. It's pretty smooth. Not a lot of bite to it. And so I thoroughly enjoy this one. It's something I would easily get again. Before we move on, though, I also want to remind everybody, go ahead and check out Underdog Fantasy. It's a best ball fantasy site. They also do some odds pickings throughout the season. You can sign up using promo code 6pack, all spelled out, one word. And as soon as, if you're not happy with your results or experience throughout the first month, you will get your money back. So go ahead and use that promo code. And I believe we've got Mike back. Hopefully,
I don't know what happened.
Man. No, it's all good. It happens live streams. We're good. You just had to make my life super difficult with me pushing all the buttons myself. Usually Jeff's in here doing it, and I'm sitting here like, what's going on? Like trying to get everything back to where it should be.
You mentioned I like to bring the fun to the show. I like to also bring the chaos.
Yeah, apparently. So it's all good.
Well, that's what happens when you podcast from a jail cell, man. Look at this. This is what happens in the middle of what is it? Anyway, so what? Drinking real quick. Drinking my usual, like my go-to is a Funky Buddha. It's a wheat beer. I really enjoy it. It's just good beer. I don't know. I got nothing else to add to it. I'm just gonna crack it open at this point. Catch up to what you guys are doing.
I'm already on 4.
Well,
I wish.
We didn't talk pre-gaming. I just came from a kid's birthday party. I had a little bit of bourbon before. This is like the after party / relax time.
All right.
We good to go. We're lubricated. Did my allowed to say it on there?
Oh, you did.
I just did. So too bad.
Too late.
Deal with it.
You can issue your apology on air later.
Sure. All right, man. Let's jump into it. So first things first, we're gonna jump into some bad news, injury news, and first guy here. Let's talk some Fernando Tatis. There's some. He had an MRI on his shoulder. They apparently came back and said, they're a sigh of relief. Not a whole lot of other news about it though. Like I don't really know exactly what it is. Maybe I just missed it. But what's the level of concern here with Tatis, especially how early he's going in drafts?
I'm not sure there's much to be concerned about. I don't know. At the same time, it's weird. I look at Tatis and I'm like, it's probably nothing. They've downplayed it a little bit. But then I start thinking about Arenado last year, where he had the lingering shoulder that eventually shut him down. I had no Tatis here. I just haven't drafted in a spot where I usually end up with him. So maybe that shows you I'm a little lower than consensus as it is on Tatis. So I don't know. Maybe my concerns should be more. I'm just not as concerned as most people are. And a lot of it might be biased towards just not having him on my rosters.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm that concerned with him, honestly. I haven't drafted him. I also haven't had a top, 10 pick in any of my drafts. So there it goes. So I'm never going to get him. So.
Yeah. I've only done one draft so far, and my first pick was a keeper pick, so I definitely didn't get him, and I'm pretty sure he was a keeper pick as well, many rounds later. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's something to monitor, but I don't think you're gonna change much draft strategy right now, unless some new news comes out in the next, 3 or 4 days that is a doom and gloom situation, maybe. But other than that, I still think he's a bona fide top 5 pick right now, if not higher.
Yeah, I think he actually might have played today. I'm looking at. I didn't get a chance. See, normally on top of lineups. Today's been a hectic day. Did not see if he was in the lineup today, but he might have actually been in today. I'm looking it up real quick. And he, in fact, was. So, yeah, there you go. He's healthy. Good to go. Draft him.
Top pick. Take him all day, every
We're
day. Top
good.
pick.
We are good.
The one
Don't
day
even
I'm
worry
not
about
on top of lineups, of course. This is what happens when you slack even for just an hour.
How dare you?
I know. How dare I?
Get out of the jail cell and pay attention to some lineups already.
Well, if anything, I should have no excuse because I'm in the jail cell and I have
exactly my point. All right. So moving on here from Fernando, we've got Zac Gallen. He's got a hairline fracture from swinging a bat. Last time I checked, he was a pitcher. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, are you still drafting him and hoping he returns sooner rather than later?
I have him in TGFBI for reference, and I'm not exactly happy about this. He's been diagnosed, like you mentioned, a hairline stress fracture in his right forearm. It's just such a weird spot. Apparently, he can still throw, but he can't throw it with any type of velocity. So I don't know what's going to happen. I've read anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks this could take to recover from. but it's kind of vague because it's not your typical like, oh, it's an elbow injury or an arm injury where he has to come back and ramp up. He's going to be able to stay somewhat, throwing at least. So maybe the ramp up process won't take as long. But is there a chance for re-stressing, like re-fracturing or having another issue with the fracture once it starts ramping up because it's a stress fracture? I don't know. It's such a weird thing, man. I'm just avoiding the headache. Trust me, I have early shares. I'm not happy. I just don't know. This is not like something you typically deal with. Could he be back in 4 weeks? I wouldn't be surprised if he was, because we don't know how this is gonna affect Gallen. But again, 6 to 8 weeks is like the more pessimistic time frame I've heard, and that's kind of terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty detrimental for a pitcher to be out that long, and especially when they have a ramping up period, which it sounds like hopefully he won't, but who knows? I mean, if he does do something and tweaks it, and widens the hairline, I don't know, goes from an 80-year-old losing its hairline to, to me, and then to like a 12-year-old with thick flowing locks. I don't know. I mean, it could just be bad. Joe?
Yeah, I'm off him, obviously, at this point. I liked him a lot before, so it's just really unfortunate news here. But moving on here, another pitcher going down, Kirby Yates, a guy who a lot of people were on, and I really was too, playing for that Toronto team. A lot of people were thinking they were going to be up-and-comers this season. Kind of falling apart, unfortunately. But Tommy John, it's likely for him. I don't know if it's been fully announced yet, but sounded like he's done for the year. I mean, who's up next for this team at the closer role?
It's got to be Jordan Romano.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Dolis is kind of getting his name thrown out there. So if you're in a deep enough format, maybe if you miss out on Romano, you fall back on a Dolis late, kind of see what happens between that bullpen situation. But as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Romano. He had 2 saves last year as well, so he's been put in the role before. 5 saves in 2019, and all of that was AAA. So again, he's familiar with the role. The strikeouts are there. The good ratios are there. I would say he would be next in line for me.
Yeah, this situation is not good. Anytime you hear TJ and it's not talking about, a mid-90s Jeep, I just don't like it when it's baseball related. So George Springer is our next man down, if you will. He's dealing with a grade 2 oblique strain. They're saying he might be ready by opening day, but obliques are just that one injury next to TJ, obviously, that it just scares the hell out of me with baseball players, because it's always something that just tends to linger way longer than you think it should. So what are your thoughts on Springer? Are you going after him, or do you own him anywhere?
I drafted him the day before he got injured, night. Or was it the night? It was like the night, and then the news broke. I don't remember. Either way, it was really, really early, right before it. And honestly, it sounds like the team is optimistic. I don't buy the optimism. I think he misses a couple weeks, but not like something that's detrimental. He misses a couple weeks every year. It just sucks that he missed it to start the season. So we'll see how that goes for Springer. But I mean, you know what you're getting. He should still come back and be Springer. I don't think it's going to linger too much personally, but you're right. There is a very big possibility of it, because obliques do tend to linger, especially with baseball players.
Yeah, when they said he's gonna be ready by opening day, I was like, wait, a grade 2 oblique strain out of all things? Like, no, come on.
I don't see it.
You guys are lying. Just stop. Another closer out here, long term for the Rangers with an elbow injury. Jose Leclerc. I mean, the Rangers bullpen is decimated at this point. Like, he was the last man standing, it felt like. And so he had a little bit of value coming in, late round draft pick because of that. But I mean, now who? Like, what are we looking at? Nothing.
I'm laughing. It's like a nervous cackle coming out of my mouth, because I don't know. I guess Matt Bush. I would say Ian Kennedy. It's funny because both those guys were non-roster invites to the team, so neither one of them were even guaranteed a spot coming in. Now it's like both. Yeah, well, now because of they have nothing else. That's who they're gonna end up with, and I think it's gonna be Ian Kennedy. Like, if I had to choose. I just, he has the track record. Last year, or was it 2 years ago? I don't remember. He was definitely the guy pretty recently for a team. So it goes to show you how much I'm just disinterested. But Ian Kennedy would be the name. If I'm
starter turned surprisingly decent closer for a
3
month
40.
span.
No offense, but 40 for baseball's old, and he's creeping to get there. We might be in our prime, but for them that's old. And I just don't trust it, man. Again, if I can avoid it, I would. But if I'm really pressing for saves, 36 years old, by the way. Kennedy would be the guy.
Pushing 40. Yeah.
I would say in leagues where you're stretching for saves, you're kind of desperate here. Look out for Jose Rodriguez.
Yeah,
should only miss a couple weeks, and he could come in and steal that job and kind of run away with it. But I mean, again, it's Texas. You're not really going to get a lot of saves, unfortunately. But hey, we've seen crazier things where these bad teams get guys that get 30 saves because every game they win is within 1 or 2. So it could work, So he's a guy when he comes back. I think if you're desperate for saves, I would take a look at him if he's out there on the waiver wire. So that's something to look for. So. The last one, man, I'm just going to drink during this one because I have him on 2 teams.
And I'm just going to laugh. He was Joe's 23rd round keeper out of a 22 round draft.
Can't feel that bad for him. I mean, he was free, so it's
exactly.
Okay.
24 out of 26 rounds. Yeah,
I know. I was making
I know
fun of you further, and
I basically didn't draft outfield for the first 15 rounds because I had him, Acuna, and Trout. So yes, you can't really that for me, but yeah, my 4th outfielder is Hayes. I think it's bad because I wait.
Well, now who's your 3rd?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I had to go look at that.
Who's your real 4th?
I might have had a few too many of these that night and forget who I was on. So
again, shocker. Okay, so Eloy Jimenez is who we are talking about here with his ruptured pectoral. He is possibly out 5 to 6 months. Months, Joe. Man,
this season.
Wow, that was such a terrible pick for you.
He's a drop.
He's a clear drop.
Outside of keeper formats, he's a drop.
Hopefully he can ride my IL the whole season. That's what's going to happen.
Is he on your 2nd year contract?
Next year it will be because remember we froze it. So we froze it for 1 year because of COVID last season. So he'll be second year keeper next year.
Oh, then yeah. I mean, you're still going to keep him. So Andrew Vaughan is who we're looking at in left field as a possibility. What are your insights on Mr. Vaughan?
Surprised that he's playing the outfield. I think they're almost better off going. I mean, there's outfielders available via their the real life. I'm thinking waiver wire, but free agency in real life,
right?
Yeah.
They could go out and make a trade. I mean, heck, Jay Bruce, not a sexy name.
Right. I was
might be released from the Yankees. So with that opens up a potential. That's a spot for him. I mean, they have Laurie Garcia, who defensively can be solid out there, I believe. So I'm not sure what their plans are. I just know it's not sexy options or names. And I don't want to don't get me wrong. I'll take Andrew Vaughn adding outfield eligibility in fantasy. I just don't want to count on it because we saw one bad outfielder out there and look what happened to him. So you put another bad glove out there, you're just asking for more injury. And not that he's a bad glove, but I just don't think outfield is what I don't think he's suddenly going to adapt to playing outfield when he's been first base and DHing for who knows how long. So.
Yeah, that'll be a struggle for him to do that
on the fly. Opening days.
Yeah, it seems like a weird move. I'm not really sure where that came from.
It's called desperation.
Talking about me? I don't smell like desperation.
No. The White Sox.
I'm kidding. I know what you meant.
Joe doesn't wear deodorant. Come on.
I would never disrespect the host. That's just rude.
I do have him on some of my fantasy teams. I am sort of desperate, but it's all right. All right, let's move on here to some more happy news. Some guys that are rising up the ADP ranks. So what we did is we looked at NFBC ADP last month around this time, and then this month. and we did the comparisons, and we found some guys that I found a little interesting. I didn't go after, the guys that went up like 2 or 3 spots that were like high up. Like those guys, whatever. They're all going to be the same. You're going to go up and down a couple spots, big deal. I went after some guys that I, really moved. And then some guys kind of in between that moved a couple of rounds, it felt like. So first start here, we are going with Tai France. This was the guy that was not on my radar at all to start the season, to be honest with you. But he has been killing it in spring. And I get it, spring training, but hey, 385, got 5 home runs, 10 RBI. I mean, he's had some solid stints, and so he's flashed before. But what's your thoughts on this guy? He's climbed over 130 overall spots because of this strong spring. You buying in?
I mean, I want to give myself a pat on the back on this one. I'm going to claim an early victory lap, even though he hasn't done anything to preserve it yet. I was in on France. I'm trying to find. I can't even find the article at this point, but I was in on him before he turned into what he's turned into. Like, he's everywhere. So I like to take the victory lap on that one, but that's not my style. Yeah, I'll take it now. But no, it's France is a guy that I've just, like I said, I've just been in on. I like his. He has a good hit tool. I like to bet on guys that have that. I think the rest can come with it. And France, you mentioned he's having a strong spring. He's going to be playing second and third base probably throughout the season. Gained multi-positional eligibility. And it looks like he's trending towards hitting in the top of the lineup. He should hit top 5 regardless. And the Mariners don't have a bad lineup. So Tai France is a guy that just kind of is finally gaining the helium he deserved. He was going, I think, early drafts outside the top 300. Now he's creeping inside the top 200. Or sorry, just outside the top 200, like closer to 250-ish, I think. He fluctuates. But France is a guy he caught my eye early. He's been grabbing everyone's attention, deservedly so, with how good he's been in spring, and a guy that you should target with, I'd say, a good amount of confidence. But France is starting to get to a point where even I don't want to pay the price. Like, it's getting kind of crazy this final week here.
Yeah, I took him in so we have a fantasy 6-pack friends and staff league that's been going on for a few years, that 4-man keeper league where I've got Eli, and I kind of got bombarded with like second bases flying off the board, and I was like, I finally took Moose, which was fine, but then later on I'm like, I need something. The middle infield was desperate, and I was like, you know what, Tai France. I went real early on him. I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna take a chance and see if this works. I hope it does, because man, it was going fast. That position just dries up. So hopefully. Yeah.
All right. So the next guy we got here is Mr. Bobby Dalbec. He's currently the home run leader of spring, and he's risen 99 spots. Are you going after him? Are you buying in?
Bobby Dalbeck's just a guy for me. I'm not the skill set. I mean, the power is immense. Like, I get that. I like the potential there, but we're talking about a guy that he has the potential to hit 40, but he also has the potential to be just really kill you in batting average. There's a lot of swing and miss there. I do like the long-term outlook for Bobby Dalbec, but in 2021, I'm a little concerned. And then you pair the swing and miss with the fact that he's going to be batting 9th, at least to start. They've already kind of confirmed that he's going to be batting 9th, and a power hitter in the 9th spot is less than ideal. RBIs won't come, runs won't come. So now you're looking at what home runs and kind of being his only real
shots. Cool. Yeah.
That's I mean, I don't see a lot of paths to stats in terms of like what he's going to offer coming from the 9th spot, again, from being a power hitter. So Bobby Dalbeck's a guy I like, but not as there's people that just like him a lot more than I do. I'm just kind of lukewarm on him, so to speak.
Yeah, I kind of predicted, I don't know how bold it really is, but I predicted that he's going to lead the league in home runs, but he's going to lead the league in strikeouts. And the last player to do that, Mr. Chris Davis for the Orioles in 2015. So, it's not easy to do, but he could easily do it.
Davis was right up there almost yearly with that.
You know how, like, fine-tooth comb I had to look at that because it was, like, super close every year. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty with him, but I think the home runs are going to come in bunches with him. So like
he still is young,
I love those
man.
like best ball points leagues with him. Like he's that guy. Like if you can get him late, like a best ball points league, he's gonna win you weeks.
I mean, I think he has like six. Silly. I think he has like 6 spring training home runs. So it's like we know the power is there. There's no doubting the power.
16 strikeouts.
He's batting 308, but again, I don't buy the 308 batting average when you hit it. You hit on the nail on the head. 16 strikeouts, like in 45 plate appearances. He's gonna strike out at a high clip. He slightly overperformed his peripherals last year as well. So I'm thinking closer to a 250 guy. Sure, he has the home run upside, but again, so 250 with 30 plus. But again, where's the counting stats coming from? No stolen bases. So outside of those points leagues formats, best ball formats, I think his value and his potential is limited because again, of the skill set doesn't play from the 9 spot. So Dalbeck's a guy that just I can't just get in.
I don't see him. I don't see how he doesn't move up the lineup. But by the way, is your wife's name Alexis?
Yeah, is she chiming in? Oh, geez. There she is.
Stop live streaming.
The last name giveaway. Wow, she even changed her name. She even changed her name to match mine. Underscore and everything. Look at that. The underscore.
I saw that and was like, oh,
I think she's trolling me. Oh, yeah, she called me. She said earlier I came out to hang out with the family. I was in the office doing my lineup chart. And I guess it was, lineups weren't dropping. So I tweeted out like oh, it's a slow day. And then she's like, "That's why you came out." I was like, "Damn!" She doesn't usually do Twitter, but she's starting to get more involved, and because she's more involved, it's starting to get me in trouble.
Backfire.
Yeah, because I'm very open and honest on Twitter,
and you're on there a lot. So yeah,
yes. And she's starting to realize, oh, I want to see what my husband's up to. I'm just gonna go on there.
Wow,
I have to be thankful
okay.
my wife is not on Twitter because I don't do the Facebook as much, which is where she is. But I do Twitter a lot, and thankfully she doesn't see how involved I am with her. So yeah, I feel you, man. But have fun with that conversation later. All right, AJ, moving on.
No, I'm gonna sleep in this jail cell.
You told me there's an air mattress next to you, so yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I got guests at the house, but they can have my bed. I'll sleep on their air mattress.
All right, so the next guy we got here is Mad Bum. He has had a very strong spring, even against fairly good competition. I mean, are you seeing or having any hopes in a bounce back for Mr. Bumgarner?
I guess maybe. I mean, there's always a chance, right, for that one final year. I think his velo's back into the low 90s as well, so that's promising for a guy like him. That it doesn't really depend on the velocity necessarily, but it can't hurt. I want to see more when the games count, so I probably won't have any shares of Mad Bum, but I am cautiously optimistic because track record, he is a gamer. He wants, he's trying to make people realize that deal wasn't a mistake. I think he's going to really go out and try to put on a performance this year. But with that said, I'm still not convinced that this is he's suddenly fixed. So I wanted to see it more with Mad Bum. That's all it is. So I'm going to miss out in the process probably.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been drafted in leagues, like my normal size leagues, but, NFBC leagues and things like that, like, those 30, 35 round leagues, he's been snatched up. I looked at him a few times and, I saw the strong spring, but it's kind of one of those like, he's a good
best ball guy. I have him in best ball. Like, I don't do a lot of best ball leagues, but Mad Bum's a guy who's going to get you innings.
Yeah,
probably close to a strikeout an inning. The ratios won't kill you, but again, he's going to get you points league format. Mad Bum's a guy in best ball that I tend to get because again, he falls and he offers that skill set in terms of what to target there. But outside of best ball, I've had zero interest. Which again, if Mad Bum does return to even partial of his former glory, I'm going to miss out a lot on him, and he'll be a big loss. He'll be a big L for me because I've been fading him.
I feel you, man. I'm kind of right there in the same boat with you. Let's move on here, though. A hitter, Vlad Guerrero Jr., a guy who's, obviously had a lot of hype for the last couple seasons. He's, look, he hasn't improved a lot, but we're getting to the upper tiers of hitters here now. So he's improved a full 10 spots in his ADP. One of the few guys up that high that has improved double-digit numbers. I can't quite figure out why. Like the power isn't there this spring. He's hitting well, but it's not. There's no power. There's one home run, and I don't know. Maybe there's not a lot to take about that, but like that's been kind of the thing with him in his pro career is that the power hasn't been there like we thought it was going to be. I mean, we just saw this guy just mashing like home run derbies and absolutely crush it in the minors. I mean, everybody thought he was going to be the next 40, 50, 60 home run guy. It hasn't come. So like, why is he rising?
I think it's the big spring, the raise in launch angle he's shown in spring as well. But Vlad has also shown it has had ups and downs with the launch angle. But if he's truly going to get the launch angle up, people are really excited because we know what the power can be. Mm-hmm. But even if he just stops hitting ground balls altogether or cuts down the ground balls, I should say, because he's not going to just stop hitting ground balls. I think that'll play immensely well to his skill set. So he's going to provide you a high 4 category floor. Sure. What if he comes up short in home runs, it might be 25 to 30 instead of the 30 plus that we all expect from him. But he is only 22 years old. The power's there. So if he's going to hit you close to 280 plus, and he's going to hit in the middle of that Blue Jays lineup, Vlad is very much going to be a solid player. I don't know. Another guy I'm willing to be wrong on. I just find myself drafting other players I prefer with different skill sets around there. No steals, especially this year, really hinders Vlad's production, or at least hinders what I value in that spot. However, if format dependent, if it's a points league, if it's something like that, I'm okay with this draft price at that point. But again, no speed, power, although there potential wise hasn't shown yet, like you mentioned. I'm just willing to be a year late than a year. I'm just willing to be a year late on Vlad. Again, another guy I'm just willing to be wrong on, but he's one I'm kind of afraid because I know it's gonna happen. I think the pedigree's there for Vlad. I think it's going to happen. It's just, when is it going to happen? And is it going to be this year? Because then I missed out again. But I've been right for 2 years. So I'm going to try for the 3-peat. Because I've been fading him since he's been coming up.
I feel you, especially that first year, where he was getting drafted like silly high and he hadn't even played a game yet. My thing is, like, I'm looking at the third baseman. I know he's got first base eligibility, but like I consider him third base eligible, for most leagues. Eugenio Suarez, Moncada, Chapman, those guys are still going behind him. Give me those guys all day long over Guerrero.
That's what it is.
Especially for the price point. Like, no, I don't. I can't do it. So
Moncada's a big one. Moncada's a big one for me. I usually end up waiting. I pass on Vlad every time, and I end up getting Moncada 20 picks later, and that's where I go. I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
First base wise, if I want a high floor, I can get Anthony Rizzo and Paul Goldschmidt. Got both guys I believe in, going 50 picks later. And I know the ceilings aren't as high for those players, but I think the floors are very similar. So I'm targeting other players, likely pitching that early. So give me the pitchers, give me the speed that where Vlad's going, and I'll take high floors a little later on, where I think again the floors are very similar with a track record.
Yeah, absolutely. So next guy I want to talk about, and somebody who I've been kind of going after in a bunch of leagues, has felt like about Austin Meadows, not hitting very well, 167 average, but look, he's got 4 home runs and a steal already. I guess I'm sort of, surprised with the jump in value that he's had so far, considering the average. But I guess people are seeing the power and the speed combo and jumping back in. What's your thoughts?
I'm actually in on Meadows, but see, I was in on him before you mentioned he's rising ADP. Meadows is a guy I was in on. I was in on at the discount, and he was, again, the batting average just kind of took a dip recently in spring. He was hitting for better average early on, and the power's come back, which is nice. And you mentioned the steal, great. That's there. I still want. I never got a share. People keep jumping him in ADP right before I can, or if I think I'm going to target him there. The thing is I take Moncada over him every time, and he's going right where Moncada is now. So that's why I've been realizing with Meadows, I haven't had a lot of Meadows because I'm getting so much Moncada, so much Ketel Marte, guys that I value at different positions similarly. Like I value Marte because he plays second base and outfield. I value Moncada because he plays third base. Outfield is the easiest position for me, in my opinion, to fill later in drafts. So Meadows no longer falling close to that 80 to 100 range. I end up falling. I usually end up favoring the infielders first, because I think I'd rather fill the infield spots and leave the outfield for later. So again, another guy I just haven't landed on because of team construction. But I'm actually in on him.
We should never be in the same league because you have the exact same strategy I do. Fill your infield first, go outfield later. I might go get like one stud outfielder. Meadows, yeah, because I was drafting a little early. Meadows was a guy that I happened to be getting, and I forgot to write down his ADP, but it was
80 to 100, somewhere around there. Now it's like 60 to 80, like almost like his high end pick is almost where he was going low end initially, and the hype has gone crazy on him, which rightfully so. I think he's being priced appropriately now, and because the discount's not there is why I'm out. Like I'm cheap. I want the discount. I'm not getting it there.
Of course.
I feel like I'm still getting a deal on Moncada and Cattell in comparison, and that's why I end up with them more. That's all.
Yeah, his overall ADP right now is 76. It was 92, but of course there's maxes and mins in between. But yeah, I mean, he could be going easily in the top 60. Before he was going outside the top 100. And TGFBI, I got him. It was way outside the top 100. I was like, click. It was easy. I was like, hell yeah. But
stupid.
Yeah, I waited on outfield after like, I think I got one good player early. And then I waited on everybody and got Pham and Meadows like super late. It felt like, and I just loaded my infield because except for second base, I screwed up on second base in that league too. I just couldn't. I don't know. The second base position.
Second base is ugly.
Dude, second base flew in my TGFBI league, man. 16 second basemen went in the first 13 rounds.
Ugh, and there's not a lot.
And also I looked up and I'm like, what? Where'd they all go?
I mean, I have one team where my starting second baseman on one team I'm drafting right now because I messed up and didn't draft one is Cesar Hernandez for reference.
If you forget about second base, you get royally screwed this year. Like it's awful.
France was my fallback option, and the problem is I'm not getting Tai France where I used to get him.
Because
so
everybody
I forget.
wants him now.
Well, he's a flashy name, and
a hype guy.
I looked up the article. I found it. His ADP at the time of my article was 289 and change. So where's he going now? I don't remember if we talked about that. It doesn't matter. My point is that's
way
why
above that.
Well, so back in late February, I'll tell you. Back in late February, his ADP was 370. Right now it's 240.
So,
but I guarantee it's still higher than that.
Still 40 spots above when you wrote your article. That's still a pretty big jump.
I was still in on, and I wonder why. Maybe I might have honestly screwed up the ADP data for the article, to be completely honest as well. Because I don't remember going that high. That's what I used too.
And I grabbed data from like this exact week. I did like a week's worth of data because I don't want to do like one day. That's stupid. I did like a week's worth of data this week in February, and now this week's worth of data in March. And that's how I did the comparison. But yeah, he's jumped 130 spots. But like, I haven't seen him go 240 in all of the drafts that I did. He's going ahead of that, except for TGFBI, where like he wasn't a name yet because spring had barely started.
I got him in TGFBI, I think, actually. Now I'm looking up. I think I did. Pretty sure I did.
Good stuff. All right, well, let's jump into the next guy here.
All right, so the last guy we got here for Riser is Victor Robles of Washington, another outfielder. His ADP has improved 27 spots. All right, not too shabby. But is this just people hoping that he can return to his 2030 potential, or is it more false hope?
I think there's a little bit. Vlad hope. Oh, I love it. I think there's a little bit of both going on, and I'm actually very much in on Vlad. I'm Vlad now here on Robles. I like Robles, but then like again, this most recent, I'm in a draft right now as we speak, and he went 89th overall in this slow draft. It's a 30-minute clock, so it's not really. It's like a pseudo slow draft. We run through a few rounds a day, but yes, he went 89th overall, so that's like way too high for me for my liking. He's hit very well, all things considered, in spring compared to what he's shown us in the past. And apparently Robles went over to the Dominican Summer League, worked on things. He bulked up too much last year. It caused him some issues with his quickness and all that and mobility. Lost some of that weight, came into 2021 more mobile, I guess is where I can't say it, whatever. More mobile and just a little bit, I guess, quicker overall, looking better and swinging a better bat. And they've been having Robles lead off. He led off every single game he started in spring training prior to today, where then I overreacted and tweeted about how I'm worried all of a sudden. But he's been leading off every single game. The team wants to be able to lead him off because they want to be able to utilize the players behind him to set and just so if you're telling me he's a guy he can lead off, he's looking better. We have the prospect pedigree. And I think he stole like 4 or 5 bases in spring already and a couple home runs. He's giving you the power of the speed. Batting average might be iffy, but if he's hits in the top of the lineup, he'll score 100 runs. The RBIs will be whatever, but he's a leadoff hitter. All in all, I like where Robles was going, or even is kind of creeping to. But I will not take him inside the top 100 because 89th overall, for reference, is just that's a spot where there's just players I feel way more comfortable. Again, it goes back to I'd rather have Meadows still, and he might still be there. Moncada still falls. Marte went after him in this draft, and Ketel Marte is a guy that I'm very much in on and rather have over him. So, but we're seeing Robles creep into that conversation. It seems like, and if that's the case, I'm definitely out this final week. But he's a guy that I have a lot more confidence in than I initially did. I did get my one share of him because he was a FOMO guy after seeing all the trends in the positive directions. So yeah, Robles is a guy. 2030 is a little ambitious, but he's showing the tools in spring, and all those spring training stats don't matter. You want to see a guy that had the prospect pedigree, a guy who has the skill set, get everything going and rolling into the season with that confidence, and maybe leading off. I want a part of that, you know?
Absolutely. No, I'm with you on that, man. Like I'm kind of pissed at myself for passing on Robles in a few spots early on, and because now, like, yeah, you have to pay up for it. It feels like, but he's a guy who I kind of was like looking at maybe having a bounce back. You know, like, look, maybe the average will be 240, 230, but where he was going early on in March was super late, and it was just like, I could potentially get a 20-20 guy, a 20-30 guy, a 15-25 guy. That late, that's monster. And I missed on him barely in like 2 or 3 drafts, it felt like, and I was mad about it. But I was on him, like, hoping he could, make the bounce back. And now that the spring is coming, where he's hit 3 bombs and stolen 5 bases, everybody's like, "Oh, Victor Robles is back." And
the stolen bases, it's like, even if the power doesn't the power's on a crazy, like right now, that power would translate really well, but it's the stolen bases I'm more optimistic about, because they're not only letting him run in spring, but he's been successful. Last I checked, I don't know if he's been caught stealing, but he's been 100% successful in the base paths. So that shows not only intent to run, but successful. So like, and I look at efficiency a lot. You look at efficiency, and efficiency matters, I believe, when it comes to stealing bases, and that will allow him to. Because think about it, if he's not efficient, they're not going to let him run ahead of the guys he's going to be hitting in front of. So the efficiency will matter in terms of him actually getting those attempts. So yeah, I mean, seeing the efficiency for Robles, for sure,
really. The batting average will be low. I mean, he's already got 15 strikeouts, so he's up there with Bobby Dalbec type of numbers with strikeouts. But he could get some good counting stats for you, and especially if you're going after like late steal guys, he's not going to be a power drain. That's the thing too. Like, you go after a lot of these like late steal guys, they're just nothing anywhere else. It feels like a lot of them. And he could be a guy who can actually help at least a little bit in home runs and maybe runs, maybe not RBI because he's batting up top, but he's a guy who I do really like. But let's jump over here, some ADP fallers. And I'm going to start here with a Met, Jeff McNeil. I don't know. He's had a rough spring, man. His ADP was in the 80s. Now he's over 100. I mean, I don't know. To me, like, I was never a big fan of this guy. I always felt like he was just kind of a batting average guy. Like, you can find a bunch of these, just a guy wherever, and he feels like just a guy, but because maybe position eligibility, I don't know what was driving his ADP as high as it was, but it still feels like, to me, even just over 100 is too expensive. What do you think?
I think now I still won't draft him because of his skill set. For me, isn't particularly sexy at that price, but I do understand it because he is, although he might be just a guy, he's also what I would consider a roster stabilizer. Jeff McNeil's a guy very much, you could depend on the batting average. He's going to give you about 20 to 25 home runs, might give you some chip in speed, but there was also the idea of him possibly hitting towards the top of that lineup. And I think they're really set on giving Nimmo that leadoff spot, Lindor batting second. And that putting those two at the top of the lineup pushes McNeil down, because then you have Conforto, you have Dom Smith, you have Pete Alonso. These are all guys that are probably going to hit ahead of McNeil on the average. So this pushes McNeil down to 5th or 6th on any given day, majority of the time. Yeah. That hinders his production all around, especially for a guy who, if he was banging at the top of the lineup, yeah, that'd make a lot. That'd be great, because now you have that batting average on base skills for McNeil. at the top of that Mets lineup, that's 100+ runs easily. And then you sprinkle in a few steals and some home runs, then it makes sense to be targeting him because the multi-positional eligibility is there as well. But given that's none of that I just said is the case as of right now, the dip in ADP makes sense, and he's a guy that I'm just kind of I wasn't in on. I'm still really not. I'm letting other people do him. My co-host, I'll give a shout out to him if he's listening. Zach Braff. He's a guy that just like the Scrubs actor. He's the guy that really, I wish it was the same guy, but he's not as cool.
It's cool.
But yeah, he's a huge McNeil guy, but he's also a huge Mets fan. So a lot of Mets bias there, in my opinion. Regardless, he's just not for me, man.
Yeah. So speaking of the Mets, we've got Dom Smith, who you just mentioned. We'll just keep knocking him down. I mean, maybe you
will
tell
I'm out.
Yeah, as the fandom behind me, but
and we're not knocking him out of the park.
Exactly. So Smith's seen his ADP rise over a round. I mean, I feel like this is just due more to the early hopes of the NLDH. Now that we're not really seeing that, I mean, he just loses his value. Would you even take him at his new ADP of 132?
I would like to see him drop a little more. The one share I have of Dom Smith, I got him at pick 200. Just give you an idea how far he fell for me. That's how far I felt. That's how far he fell for me to feel comfortable. And I even at that price, I still questioned my pick. That's how uncomfortable I was. And it's not because Dom Smith, the bat is great for Dominic Smith. Zero doubt in the bat. It's the playing time. And I think he's going to be starting left field more times than not, but he's a defensive liability. We watched a play where any other outfielder, I think, with at least a moderate level of comfort in left field, would have caught this ball that ended up being a home run. It was barely over the fence. It was a wall scraper. It was honestly, it almost looked routine. And Dom just struggled tracking it, struggled trying to figure out where it was, and it ended up going over the fence. And I think the wind did carry it in his defense a little bit, but still, he just struggles in the outfield. And that's going to cause him to lose at bats at the end of the game. It might cause him to lose starts with certain pitchers if it's a fly ball pitcher, So Dom Smith's a guy that, although I believe in the talent as a bat, he could play first base, but the problem is they have Pete Alonso there. So I'm okay with Dom Smith if he was closer to 200, even 170-ish, 150 even, but 130, I just can't. I'm like you said, like I said before, at 200, I felt like unsure of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too pessimistic, but I shouldn't have been, because at 200, I feel like there's at least still a chance there. But I don't know, man. Dom Smith's the guy that I just don't have the confidence in.
I've stared at him a lot in a few drafts here and there, and the upside is crazy. But yeah, I'm super worried about the playing time. I've mentioned that a lot on a bunch of these shows, so I'm not going to go into it a whole lot more. You guys can go back and listen to the NLE's preview to figure that one out. So
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure we bashed the hell out of him.
We totally did
on that show. So
a guy though that we haven't talked a lot about is David Price. I'm actually a little surprised about this one. His draft stock has dropped. I get early on, right? Because it was like, is he going to play this year? Is he going to, where the Dodgers are going to use him? As soon as he got announced that he was going to play, I thought it would go straight up. Like, I get the risk. I get the, I wasn't thinking he'd be like, a top 40 pitcher or anything, but I thought people would be taking a chance on him for sure. But the fact that he's actually dropped in ADP really shocks me. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm actually not in on him. This is one of the first ones we disagree on. I'm just not. I think a lot of it is, first off, he took a year off. Price came back. He made a comment about willing to throw in relief or not even be a full-time starter in order to get guys like Gonsolin and May more starts. Also, the Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers and give him random IL stints because it's the Dodgers. Dodgeritis is a thing. Price is just a guy that I believe he still has. I believe he still has a partially torn UCL. I think he's been pitching with it for a couple of years now. So when or if that could go, who knows?
He's had a good spring, though. I know. I get it.
Take that
for what it's worth. But
I'm okay. I'm okay with if people are in on him. I get it. It's David Price. He's still Does he have a couple of seasons left in that arm? Sure, probably. I'm just willing to miss out on it because there's all those reasons why right there, red flags for me. And on top of already being injured, pretty much like pitching through whatever injury he has or the elbow, we're also looking at again a team that's going to limit his innings, and on top of that, so adding the limit of innings to him, coming off a year where he didn't pitch at all, with the added injury risk, you put all that together, it's a mess. I don't want to have on my roster. That's really where I'm at with him.
Yeah,
I'm out on Price too. I think there's too much risk, too many injuries to deal with, and too much dodgering going on in LA. So
we call it dodgered. These pitchers get dodgered.
They do.
They could go to the IL because they sneeze too hard.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something I said last week? Like if you can dodge an inning, you can dodge a wrench or something. I don't know. I was on fire last week.
You were, man. You're not on
not so much tonight. I'm just not coming with the same energy. I'm a little disappointed in myself, honestly.
There's probably something to say.
Most of my quietness.
You can dodge a wrench, but you can't dodge a Dodger IL.
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll go with that one.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Most of me staying quiet is because I'm just within myself in disappointment. So speaking of disappointments, Craig Kimbrel. For those of us who can talk, nice. His name is Craig Kimbrel. Ow now brown cow. Having an awful spring, yet he somehow finished 2020 strong. I don't know. I don't understand it. Maybe because it was 2020. That seems like it would make sense. I mean, I'm pretty much avoiding him everywhere. But I mean, is he worth considering at his value? The new value?
No. I'm gonna keep that one simple. I don't trust anything. I don't trust the player. Like Craig Kimbrel, I can't say it either. Craig Kimbrel, tongue twister that he is.
You guys have been drinking before the damn show.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Kidding.
I have, and I still can't.
I just cracked my second beer. Jeez, give me a break.
But yeah,
I mean, it is called Mind Haze, but
relax. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just a guy, man. Like I can't. There's enough uncertainty at closer as it is. Why am I going to spend a high pick on a guy who's still uncertain? The role is very much his, but just because the role is his doesn't mean I want to take on the potentially blow up outings and the potential for him to lose his job. And I think I'd rather take a shot like later on because again, like we're talking about chasing saves. Take Nick Whitgren, take Tanner Scott,
right.
take Adam Ottavino, take guys that are going super
love Whitgren.
Late. Yeah, Whitgren's a guy I just love to have this year. He's just a guy that, but like, again, I just rather take my shots later. Either get a guy early and then take a bunch of these stick your hand in the bag, pull out these names I just mentioned, or probably just gonna go all in on the later guys because I don't want to touch. Kimbrel's this guy. He's like I usually say there's no such thing as a do not draft. Everybody has a price, but for him, he's literally off my board. That's how I just don't want to avoid. I just want to avoid the headache because he shows flashes here and there, and then Kimbrel turns around and shows that he's not the guy he used to be. And I don't want to deal with it anymore, man. I'm hurt. Like I'm broken. He broke me. I'm done.
Yeah, I took a chance on him a couple of years ago when he was falling, and I was like, wait, what? Why is Kimbrel's falling? And then now I know why. So I'm done. I'm done. So all right, real quick, all these injured guys, not the ones we mentioned before, Lamet, Grisham, Carrasco, Valdez, etc. Like, obviously, their stock has dropped dramatically. Any chance that you even consider drafting any of these guys at their new value?
Of these names here, Grisham. Grisham's the guy.
Yeah,
he's the only one and it's because of the fact that I was just looking him up. It looks like he should be playing soon. Close to returning to game action is the most recent news on him on March 24th. So yesterday.
Yeah.
Will he miss maybe a week of games? Maybe. But the skill set is something I still like. I actually just drafted him in this league I was mentioning that I'm in. I was like, I'm going to take a shot on him because I believe he's going to be back soon. And we saw how well he was hitting before. So Grisham's the only guy of these names I'm willing to take a shot on. because the rest scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, I unfortunately have Lamet and Carrasco on TGFBI. So, bye TGFBI. I'm not going to do well this year either. Hopefully, I can invite next year.
Welcome to my life in the Scott Fish Bowl leagues.
yeah, it's pretty bad for you over there, man. It's brutal. But
I'm still going to send Scott an email and just say, don't even worry about my loan thing.
Don't do that. But anyway,
I want to give the spot to somebody who might actually show the hell
you'll
up.
expand it to 1,800 next year, and it'll be fine. You won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, then I'll be even more terrible against even more people.
Perfect.
Yes. God, that's what I strive
Listen,
for.
man, you have to
That should
strive
be.
to set the bar low. Strive to set the bar low.
I have. I
You don't have to
pretty much
strive.
set the bar
Perfect.
at low.
Perfect.
With 2 letters, A
Listen.
and J.
Here's the thing: if you set the bar low, right? If you even finish middle of the pack, people you blow people's minds. It's perfect. Set the bar low, keep expectations low, so when you're mediocre, boom, mind blown. That's what I do in life. So
That works, man. All right, let's jump in here to some something that you are obviously king at right now. Position battles. You do that awesome spreadsheet, Google Docs. If you guys have not seen this, make sure you go on Twitter and follow him and figure that and find that. It is phenomenal. I look at it almost every day, especially like near draft time for me. I'm looking at like trends to see what's going on, but position battles. We'll start here. Probably the biggest one of the entire offseason, I feel like. San Diego, second job position. Cronenworth, Kim. I mean, those are the two big ones. Obviously, we've got I forgot to write the name down until Profar. I don't feel like he's really in starter consideration. He's a utility guy. But Cronenworth and Kim, like, how do you see this playing out, and how have you seen it play out in spring?
Cronenworth is the guy. It's almost written like as close as you can to pen, maybe erasable pen in case I'm wrong here. Those are still a thing, right?
They still make them, yes.
Okay,
and
good,
for some reason they smell like dried up strawberries. But
why you're sniffing pens is another discussion.
Exactly.
I mean,
mediocrity.
Yeah,
I don't ask a lot of questions with my weird co-host, but it's cool.
Setting the bar low, we're starting to find out why.
Sniffing pens equals low bars.
Sniffing pens and eating erasers. Got it.
No, I don't eat the erasers. Come on, I just sniff them. God, I'm not a weirdo.
You're not a weirdo. Yeah, I have standards. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cronenworth.
I draw a low bar
AJ
line somewhere.
Called out.
It's fun. That's all good fun. I hope you know that. I apologize.
Yes, we know.
I hope you have me on the show again.
Don't ever apologize.
No, we're good.
Well, it's our first time ever talking, so it's not exactly a great way to start a conversation. Hey, you sniff pens. This explains a lot. All right, Cronenworth versus Kim. I love Cronenworth. I mean, I loved him coming into the year. Kim signing really scared me off of him. But we've seen Cronenworth almost exclusively play second base in spring. And the reason why I think that's a big deal is because we've seen Kim jump around third base, shortstop, second base when Cronenworth isn't playing. But anytime Cronenworth is in, it's second base and the occasional first base when Hosmer's out. So Kim has been the guy who's been almost relegated to the super utility role for the infield specifically. Because you mentioned Profar. Profar, I don't think has played a single rep in the infield. Maybe he played his first one recently. I don't recall. But I know he's been pretty much the fourth outfielder guy / injury replacement. And you think injury replacement, well, Grisham's out. Pham is likely going to hit IL stint at one point this year. Myers will likely follow suit. And if not, they're going to rest. Those guys are going to rest regularly. Well, you got to think, Pham, if he's not going to get on the IL, he's going to rest, once a week, twice a week on occasion. So, but all these, I'm saying if you have all this, like one to 2 games a week for Pham, 1 to 2 for Myers, give Grisham a couple days off, especially when he's getting back into shape. Profar is going to find his playing time in the outfield, but Kim, and they're putting Kim in the outfield this week to try it out. I think Kim is more or less the utility guy on the infield. Cronenworth going to be more than likely the everyday second baseman. That's how I see that job playing out as of right now.
Yeah, thanks. I think I was with you. It feels like initially, when this signing happened, I wrote a quick, sleeper article, and I put Kim right there. I was like, look, this guy's talented. He's going to come in. They didn't sign him for nothing. But then spring training happened, and well, maybe they did sign him for nothing. I don't know what they're trying to do with him. Maybe, with you, I feel like maybe they'll throw him in the outfield, but that seems like kind of like an Andrew Vaughan hump and prayer thing. So we'll see what happens.
I think at least Kim has the ability to play the outfield, or has played the outfield in the past. Again, I don't know Vaughn's history. Maybe he played the outfield in college. I don't recall. I just know that he's a first baseman / DH.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he is. So to hear about him going in the outfield really threw me off. But anyway, it's another discussion.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, so let's bring it on home with them O's. The center field / leadoff spot is a mix between Mullins and Hayes. So which are you using the half-chewed eraser erasable pen to pencil in?
Half-chewed.
After you sniff it.
Is there any ink left in this pen, or did you eat it?
I said you're penciling it in. If you're using a pen to pencil, you're doing it wrong.
Well, see, maybe I sniffed some of that pen eraser at this point.
You're welcome.
We're sharing. Yeah, we're sharing. Sharing is caring, man. Sharing is caring, dude.
Right.
All right, so Mullins is going to be leading off and playing center field. I feel very confident in that as well. We've seen, at first it was really back and forth, and then Mullins essentially, they've shown multiple lineups at this point with Hayes and Mullins in together, and it's Mullins constantly, or consistently, I should say, leading off while playing center field, and Hayes batting closer to fifth while playing left field. Those two, and I was reading an article, apparently those two play really well together in the field. Hayes does have the glove, so he should stick to everyday outfield duties, but just not center field and just not lead off, at least as of right now. Now, Hayes could earn his way back up. Mullins could easily hit his way down, but it looks like if the season started tomorrow, which it almost is, thankfully, Mullins should be the leadoff guy and the center fielder. But Hayes has found his way into the lineup still.
Yeah, I want to ask you about this, though. Like, once DJ Stewart is healthy, does that change things for Hayes and Mullins? Like, how do you feel? How do you factor that in?
I think that'll play itself out. I think if one of those guys are really struggling and Stewart comes in, Stewart's raw, man. I mean, he has some swing and miss in that game. The power is great, but if you can't hit the ball, what are you looking at? Another Bobby Dalbeck? I'm sick of talking about Bobby Dalbeck, but it's kind of like that's what
that's all we want to talk about. Come on,
yeah. Power. Listen, people just want to hear about dongs. I get it. Everyone wants the dong, but there's more to a man than the dong. Okay, and we're talking about baseball. You dirty-minded people. But in all seriousness, though,
Dalbeck will tell. I mean, Dalbeck will tell you.
Dalbeck, whoa!
I don't know.
AJ's warming up. He's trying.
Just getting started.
He's trying.
An hour into the show. That's how long it took.
Right.
You're welcome, America. That's what happens.
But in all seriousness,
that's what happens when I start off drinking a 6-point-something% beer. That's very good. So,
all right. Anyway,
thank you, Zombie Dust.
All right. Anyway. Yeah. No, I feel you. So my one other question about this, because I've been a big Hayes believer all along. Like, I also am a firm believer that Hayes is better, especially in the bat. Like, I know Mullins is doing this thing where, like, he's going to bat exclusively from the left side because that's where he's had a lot more success. So maybe that helps him stay at the top. But, like, what's your thoughts? And, like, there's no data that backs this up, just your opinion. What's your thoughts about Hayes maybe coming up the lineup, because he's had stretches where he's been phenomenal, especially at the very end of last season where he finally came back healthy and he played phenomenal. And then Mullins sort of dropping back down, maybe into that 8-9 role where, like, you see those, like, sort of speed guys who they're just, because defense, they stay in the lineup, go.
I think he as in Hayes can easily hit his way up. It's just a matter of opportunity and a matter of him taking advantage of it. Because you mentioned we've seen him in the past do it, but doesn't mean he's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he's
had his injury problems too, unfortunately.
And I do think we're gonna see again. It's gonna be on Hayes. I think it's very possible, even borderline likely, that Hayes hits his way up. It's just a matter of. I think it's gonna be more Mullins losing the job than Hayes winning it if they do swap. I think they want to see Mullins succeed there, but I do think it's very. I mean, I don't see a reason why we can't see this happen. Injuries are going to happen.
Yeah.
Hayes is known to get injured though, so maybe it's him that gets hurt, unfortunately. But in all seriousness, I think Hayes will or can his way up sooner than later. because the O's don't have anything to lose, right? Like, why not give your guy a shot who's hitting well at top of the lineup?
They lose enough, but sure. All right, another team that's probably not very good, but interesting fantasy-wise, the Colorado Rockies. Their first base and really kind of the entire infield because of the recent injury. CJ Cron, first base specifically. CJ Cron and Fuentes, like, who do you see winning this first base job? And I guess, maybe because I mentioned the second base and third base, obviously with the recent injury, like, how do you see this playing out?
So Crone, I think, has done more than enough to earn that spot. I mean, he was I think a minor league deal. I think they've purchased his contract at this point, or whatever. I think they've pretty much brought him onto the team, and the dude has crushed it this spring. I mean, he hit another massive home run tonight, like 114 miles per hour. The guy is absolutely crushing the ball, like putting it into like a different stratosphere at this point.
I'm not shocked.
But 4 home runs for spring already, batting over 300. And you're taking that power, and we know the power's there for Crone, putting it in cores. There's a legitimate 40 home run upside here, but Crone with him, it's always the injury concern. And I think the bat's going to play. So I think Crone sticks at first. What we're seeing a lot of since Rogers getting hurt, and it all depends on Rogers' like how long it takes for him to return. But I think as of right now, McMahon's going to play second, and Fuentes is going to play third. That's what we've been seeing a lot of. We've been seeing a lot of that trend that way, which sucks because I really thought it was going to be Hampson playing more.
Me too.
It was weird because Hampson started off spring, and this might have been the first thing I've noticed, the first L, so to speak, from me doing these lineup takeaways and just monitoring. I was like, oh, Hampson looks like he has the job. I said this like 2 weeks in. I should have known better. There was still plenty of time. but then Hampson went from having the job to Hilliard's playing like every day in center field all of a sudden. Like, hold on, wait, what happened? And I'm like, and Hampson's doing well. He's hitting 308, has a couple stolen bases on the spring so far. It's like he's not striking out terrible amount. He's walking a decent amount. So Hampson's doing his thing, but so is Hilliard, I think, to a point. So that's why it's like, are they still just letting it playing out, see what happens? I mean, Hilliard, we'll
never know with the Rockies, man.
Well, here's the problem.
They do weird things.
Hilliard has 17 strikeouts right now in spring.
Ooh.
Batting 227. That's before tonight if he played today.
Damn.
So this is entering today. So that's what I'm saying. So entering the 25th. So prior to the 25th, those were his stats. And Hilliard is a guy, but there's a lot of swing and miss in that game, but he has 4 stolen bases and a home run. So the counting stats and the sexy fantasy stats are there. But Hampson's the guy who's earned it. But we've seen this weird transition where Hampson was getting all the playing time. Hilliard was not. Hilliard's getting all the playing time. Hampson's kind of in and out of the lineup
as a second in strikeouts. Holy cow!
So, like I say, so with that said,
who are you? Age 30, Arizona outfielder.
Outfielder, yep.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Played for the Dodgers too. But anyway,
I remember that guy. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, that's right. Dodgers. Who said that? Yeah, I don't. The rest of the infield, the rest of this lineup, I have no idea, but I agree with you.
It's the Rockies, man. Chris Owings is probably going to be playing more than all of them. Like, just book it.
Who knows? All right, move on. I'm mad.
All right, about the so let's go with the team on your hat there. Their second base position battle here between Diaz. You got John Birdie, and you got Yaz Flute Chisholm. Who you like?
Jazz Flute, nice.
I'm sorry, Jazz. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm.
Oh, now we know who you're talking about.
We're talking about Jazz is the one I want to see because we're talking about a very toolsy for fantasy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's very toolsy. He has the power, has the speed, 3 home runs to one stolen base so far this spring, batting 250. But another strikeout issue. He's a young player, has holes in his swing, 11 strikeouts this spring and 34 plate appearances. So to give you an idea, that's not very good. But Isan Diaz, I don't think is going to cut it. He's batting 0.71. Yes, 0.071 on the spring. So I wouldn't expect Diaz to, and again, spring training stats don't mean much. Spring
that kind of means something though.
Yeah, like when you're looking at 2 young guys, when you're looking at 2 young players, one of which is supposed to be earning the job, the other one is supposed to be being sent down. Spring training should matter more for those guys, and seeing such a difference in their production. And we're talking about again a guy that's very toolsy, showed some power, showed some speed, to a guy who hasn't shown any power, any speed, and hitting like absolute dog crap. I'm going to go with Chisholm between the two, but Birdie has actually been the one that's been better overall. But I think they like having John Birdie as that utility type. 4 stolen bases, 9 walks to just 7 strikeouts while batting .350. John Birdie is very much like the one deserving. If you're looking at spring training, if spring training was going to decide who the Marlins second baseman was, it would be John Birdie. But I think they want to see Chisholm or Isan play, with Birdie still being that super util guy. He'll play plenty, but I don't know if he's going to get the starting job. But again, I don't know. Every time I read something, this guy has the inside track. That guy has the inside track. This guy has the inside track. Last I read, it was Chisholm that has the inside track. And if I had to guess between the two I mentioned, the younger guys, it would be Chisholm. But I assume they want to use Birdie in that util role, fill in the blanks on off days for players, because he can play everywhere in the field, basically.
He has everywhere eligibility. Like literally when you go to draft him, it's like everywhere. It's
yes.
Like, all right, cool. I'll take it.
I think Birdie should absolutely have this job. And then like when other people need off days in other positions, he can go over there. Then Diaz and Chisholm can fill in for him. Like screw that. Birdie's been good.
Yeah.
But he's also 30.
Who cares? He's still good.
I know, but
Diaz have done nothing except Chisholm launching a massive home run in his first spring training game.
But if you bring up a Chisholm, like if you actually give Jazz the shot, you're not going to hinder his potential growth for John freaking Birdie and his 30-year-old legs. Like it's not happening. Like I mean,
they were a playoff team last year. I get it. It was expanded playoffs.
In 60 games, the Mariners would have been a 1 seed if the first 60 games of 2019 counted for anything.
That's true. That's true. Kudos to that for you saying that. All right, moving on here. Phillies center field. I got Odubel Herrera and Roman Quinn here. I don't know who else is actually in this battle here, but like there's a lot of guys I feel like they could jump into this one. And AJ's a big Phillies fan, as you can see from the bobbleheads behind him. So, but I mean, what's your take on this, Mike?
Okay, so the other names included are Adam Hazley, who just made his reappearance in spring after
but he's
an injury.
Oh, is he back? I thought
I didn't think he was supposed to be back yet, so I didn't even think about including him.
I didn't think about him either.
But apparently,
sorry,
I was reading just last night prior.
I like Hazley a lot. He's solid.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I was reading prior to last night, and Herrera has slowed down pretty badly. Like he started off really strong, and he was like the early favorite. Quinn hasn't really done much, like nothing. He's hit 323, but he struck out 12 times. I think it's just Roman Quinn being Roman Quinn. Like he runs hot sometimes. We know he can steal bases. So I guess I shouldn't say he hasn't done nothing. I don't think I've looked at his stats in a while because he's done decently. Anyway, I think Hazley's the guy that they want to take the job. They want him to go out and take it, and he's done well. But the problem is he hasn't played enough. He hasn't played enough. And I think they're going to give him the rest of this week before making a decision. But I think it's all honestly between Hazley and Quinn at this point. Herrera was a non-roster invitee. He hasn't really done. He's kind of slowed down, like I mentioned. So I think he's going to be on the outside looking in at this point. With Kingery, I think they already mentioned sending him down. So I think it's honestly Adam Hazley or Quinn, and I'm going to lean with Hazley with like very little optimism or very little confidence on this one.
Yeah, this one could really go any which way, but fucked from Sunday. I mean, it's just a mess. It's almost reminiscent of their bullpen from 2020. That's almost how bad it is. I mean, Herrera came out like gangbusters. He had something to prove because he came back to the team after whatever it was that had him off the field. We'll just leave it at that. And, Quinn, I agree. He is just a guy. If I'm going to put it plainly, he's good at stealing bases. He's got some decent defense, but that doesn't really matter for fantasy purposes. The defense, obviously. I do like Hazley, and I do like Kingery. I think he needs a little more time in the minors to get back to seeing his own potential. I think he kind of had it thrown in his own face that he was awesome and this great find, and he has a lot of upside, but he just hasn't really shown it yet. And I don't know if he's necessarily better in the outfield than where I like him in the infield personally. So who the hell knows? I mean, I don't know. It's just a mess out there. I kind of think Hazley, it's his job to lose, and it will be between more him and Quinn for the majority of the starts each week, with Herrera maybe filling in randomly or late in games or something. So Cincy infield, we've got Mike Moustakas to third base, and we've got India at second base. So what are your thoughts on this? Possibly.
I think they want to see India take that job at this point. I don't I don't know. I mean, we have Suarez moving over to shortstop in the process as well. That's interesting. That adds his value a little bit, getting him some multi-positional eligibility. But I think that hurt. I think the bigger story here is it hurts the pitching potentially. Like, we don't know how the defense is going to look. Guys like Luis Castillo, who I have a ton of shares of, he's a ground ball pitcher, and you have an infield that's interesting. Like, I don't know how they're going to play yet, so that can hurt their pitching staff more than anything. But India, apparently he showed some serious growth at the alt site last year. Has been doing well in spring. The coaches really like him. I'm gonna say he sticks at second base. He's been a guy I've been targeting. I draft a lot of draft champions formats, so 15 teams, 50 rounds. He's a guy I use.
Teams. Whoa,
yeah, he's a guy that I'll get late type of thing. But yeah, other than that, he's not mixed league relevant yet. But a guy maybe you put on your watch list because there's prospect pedigree. He was a highly drafted. I think he was out of UF, like a 4th or 5th overall pick. So India has the prospect pedigree, the college experience, and known for his bat first. So we'll see where that goes. And the ballpark is obviously great. The division is weak in terms of pitching. A guy that's interesting, but other than that, again, not mixed league relevant quite yet.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting. I do like the fact that like Moose might get his third base eligibility back.
Yeah, so now first, second, and third.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So real quick, just want to ask you, like, we've gone through position battles. Anything that we missed on, like, if I didn't do any pitching ones, because I feel like some of the pitching battles, like you get the 5th pitcher, like who cares? They're not usually very good anyway. But like anything that you can think of that we missed, real quick. You mentioned pitching, and I honestly can't think of any more position battles. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, "Oh, you missed one." I'm sure we did. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody. But
go eat an erasable pen, people.
Freddie Peralta. Peralta. He's the one who he's probably the biggest winner from winning the 5th starter spot. He's looked fantastic in spring. The dude is just killing it. And you know what it's reminding me of? Corbin freaking Burns of 2020. He's like, he could be this year's Corbin Burns, a guy you were getting at a discount all draft season. And now the final week of drafting, he'll jump up 150 spots in ADP. Freddie Peralta is a guy that you should go out and grab off your waiver wire if he's there. Make a spot for him because he could be this year's Corbin Burns.
It's interesting. I've had Peralta in my the one dynasty league that I've talked to you about a couple times, and because he never really worked, I kind of passed him on. But yeah,
we've all passed him on time
of course.
or two.
So yeah, it's interesting.
But he's looking great, man. That's why it's.
I've heard
looking at the recent track records with pitching and stuff. It just makes you wonder if like that and the stuff the stuff is there. It's electric.
The stuff is great.
So if he can put it together as a starter, that's why the comp came for Burns. Not necessarily the same pitcher, but that type of like you're talking about a guy who was free in drafts all year, right. a waiver wire ad first week to a guy who can be like next level good. I think Peralta has that stuff to do it. It's just a matter of him putting it together. So yeah, that's why the comp comes for me.
One of the reasons why I won my Razzball division last year against guys like Todd Zola and Vlad is because I drafted Corbin Burns in like one of the last rounds. So yes, thank you, Corbin Burns. I love you. So yeah, it's I feel you, man. Like Peralta could absolutely be that guy. But let's finish things up here, man. I want to have some fun. Guys that we're avoiding, guys that we're targeting in drafts. And I know it's, this is like the last hurrah for drafts, this last week here. So we're going to do one infielder, one outfielder, and one pitcher each. Run through it quick. Mike, you got the floor. Go
Quick
with
doesn't-
infield.
Quick doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Infield first.
Infield first, a guy that I tend to avoid without even trying. We mentioned Vlad. He's a big one. I'll just go with Devers. He's a guy that I just don't. He doesn't fit my team builds ever. Sorry, no. You know what? I'm gonna go easy. Nolan Arenado. I will have Nolan Arenado as ADP.
Okay.
I think he's like honestly, if he's
Arenado.
if he's a 270 hitter with 30 home runs and 90 RBI, that's fine. But where you're drafting him, that skill set doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
And because you have to remember, Coors, like before the floor for Arenado was like 30 home runs, 100 RBI, like 100 runs and RBI, and 300 plus batting average. You're taking away that floor and making that his ceiling. And that's if everything goes right. He's looked terrible in spring. Arenado's coming off that shoulder injury that ended his season, never had surgery to repair it or anything. So the fact that he's coming off that injury, says he's fine, obviously could be, should be, but hasn't shown anything in spring. And he's also going to St. Louis, where they have one of the, I think, bottom 6 ballparks in terms of hitter-friendly ballparks, according to Park Factors. So you're taking away one of the best power places for his power to be produced at, putting him in one of the worst hitters ballparks in baseball, and taking away what is Coors Field and coming off a shoulder injury. I'm just not in at the cost.
All right. AJ, who are you avoiding?
Wasn't quick, but
no, I know you're good. AJ.
I'm going to stick with the third base position here, and I'm actually going with Anthony Rendon. So his ADP is sitting at 28. Now, I mean, obviously, I do think that Rendon is still a very productive 4-category guy, which is not easy to find, especially when you're batting behind Mike Trout. Well, hello, RBIs. So that's very helpful. But honestly, I think you can get pretty near identical stats and production from a lot of the other third basemen going well after him. You're looking at Bregman, who's only a handful of spots behind him, but he also has potential shortstop eligibility depending on your league. Arenado, who you just completely shat on, is right there. Devers, who you also mentioned before you just took a dump on Arenado. I mean, these are all guys that are putting up similar production, and you're getting them at much more of a discount than an Arenado, or I'm sorry, than a Rendon. So that's my vote.
All right, so I'm gonna go first base, and I'm going Luke Voigt. I just feel like he's being severely overdrafted. I do like him, and I liked him coming into the season. And then when I saw his ADP, I went, I don't like him anymore. I mean, he's got one super productive full season, and then he's got one. Well, no, so he's got one like mediocre productive per full season, and then he's got one super productive like 60 game season. It was 2020, and who the hell knows what that means to anybody at this point. So I'm not drafting him in the top 50, and that's where he's going. I'm passing on him in every single draft, and I'm going after some guys behind him who, and again, I mentioned earlier in this show, first base is the wasteland after the top like 6 or 7 guys. So if you pass on Voigt, it means you've probably passed on some of the guys above him. So you got to go real quick and grab one of the next 1 or 2, because that's where it's going. But he's just one of the ones I don't want at that point. I feel like the bottom could fall out real quick on him. So, Mike, over to the outfield. Who's the guy you're avoiding?
Eloy Jimenez.
I mean, all right.
Even in the 23rd round, effing Eloy. All right.
Yeah.
24th round. Get it right, AJ.
Whatever. I don't care.
All right.
The guy I'm avoiding, and I've been out all draft seasons, Randy Arozarena. I love the idea of Randy Arozarena. I love the potential of Randy Arozarena, but I think that's what it is an idea and potential. He's a guy that came seemingly out of nowhere, no real prospect pedigree, had decent numbers all through the minors, actually, when you look at him. So I think the power and speed is very much there. Should bet. He's like one of the few guys you can count on. I say very, very with lack of confidence, but someone you can count on to be in the lineup most days for the Rays. In spring, he has no home runs, 1 stolen base right now. He's kind of having a mediocre spring at best, hitting 250 in the process.
You don't want to see that.
It's spring training, though, so I don't want to give too much. I just think my big argument is pitchers are going to have time to adjust to him now. They're going to have time to really be ready for him. He's going to, sophomore slumps happen. He had one of the best postseasons like that we can remember. It was fantastic. He broke records. It was amazing, and that's what's driven his ADP up as much as it has. And he's just a guy that I've been willing to, again, pass on. A lot of it is, like, we talk about some of the names going a little later. I just like falling back on those guys more. So Randy Rosarena has been a guy I've just been avoiding.
All right, AJ, what you got outfield?
This may come as a shock to everybody on the show and or listening to the show. I'm going with Aaron Judge.
Nope.
I mean, dude, he hasn't had a fully healthy season since 2017. And yes, the power stats are clearly there and very tempting. But for me, the risk is too high for that reward. I'd rather target pretty much every other player that's going around Judge in the mid-4th right now. He's got an ADP of 46 when I checked it earlier today. You're looking at, again, Devers, who apparently is crap. Ozuna, okay, whatever. Great lineup and solid team, solid position in that lineup. So I do like Ozuna. I did like Springer, but the grade 2 we talked about earlier kind of, pushes him down a little bit more. Hell, I'd even go after Snell over an Aaron Judge, or even a Real Muto, a little bit because of, Philly's man crush, a little bit because he's the best catcher out there. So why not? But yeah, I mean, you're going to get similar stats with these guys to what Judge has put up in the 4 to 12 games that he averages most of his seasons in the league. So, if you're assuming another shortened season from him, honestly, you mentioned that you don't like Luke Voigt, but I mean, nearly a round later, you can get Voigt compared to Judge and again get similar stats. So
yeah, I would take Voigt over Judge. I don't like taking super injury prone players like that, but another guy, the guy that I'm passing on is Louise Roberts. I know he had an amazing season. The home run and steal potential is incredible. The skill set is there. Sorry. He struggled down the stretch though, like last season. And, I worry about a guy like him. Like the batting average is bad. So the plate discipline isn't great for him. And so I worry that if pitchers really get the inside track on him, that he's gonna, the counting stats won't be there. And so you're paying a premium for him this year because people are expecting like a 20-30 season or, somewhere close to that for him. It's insane. I've seen him go super early and I'm like, no, I'm not taking on that risk right now. So he's a guy that I'm avoiding big time in drafts. So Mike, your pitcher that you're avoiding this season.
I will have no Steven Strasburg.
Yes.
I just won't.
Love it. I never had him.
I know what Steven Strasburg can be. I know how great he has been. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about a guy who had coming off carpal tunnel, which we don't know how that's going to affect him, which looks like he was able to throw with good velocity. But then he hurts himself again. Does something to his calf where apparently the doctor says he doesn't need whatever he ruptured in his calf. Something weird, dude. It was the craziest thing I've ever read. I'm like, okay, sure.
I don't need no stinking tendons.
Yeah, basically. Basically what happened.
Okay, cool.
That's what
is it an appendix? That's duodenum?
That's what people are pretty much saying is like the appendix of the calf. That's a thing. Well, I don't want to find out if that's a thing or not, or if that's just a doctor misdiagnosing. I don't know. My point is, though, that was like, I'm done. I'm not going to. Strasburg can be fantastic. We know that, but I'm not doing it, man. I'm not doing it. What if the carpal tunnel is an issue that resurfaces? I don't know. And then you throw in the fact that the guy is always hurt anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
His entire career has been injury plagued. Like, I'm done with this guy. I've been done with this guy forever. And I it's funny because we live near Washington. So we live near DC, both AJ and I. And well, I do more now than you, AJ, but still I work in DC or worked in DC. And so I have all these Nats fans and they're like, oh, Strasburg this, Strasburg that. I'm like, the guy's gonna get hurt for half the season. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, told you so.
Do you even watch baseball, bro?
Like, what are you guys talking about? So yeah. Anyway,
when you're not like in a World Series for the first time, do you even watch it? No.
Yeah, I feel you totally. He had that great run in the postseason to get the World Series. So
he did.
Yeah, congrats.
He did.
Fine, great. All right, AJ, who's your pitcher that you're avoiding?
Josh Hader. I am a hater of Hader now, drinking on the ADP
Haterade.
58er Haterade.
All right, we got
it. Hader, still an elite option, top tier relief pitcher, closer, whatever you want to call it. I talked about it the other week. His overusage the past few years has led to a clearly visible production drop. Overall, okay, maybe it's a little bit minor, but it's something. It's something to look at. And with a position that's as flimsy as, a calf appendix, apparently, that is unnecessary and will require Tommy John surgery at some point, I don't want anything to do with Hader this year at 58. Plus, you have the closer heir apparent known as Devin Williams, who's right there. So I would much rather see time. You just had somebody break into your cell. I just noticed.
That was my oldest son, by the way.
I just sort of ignored that. Good job.
Yeah, I muted my mic and everything, trying to be respectful. Like, let him sneak in, get his stuff, sneak out. No, you pointed it out, so we'll talk about it.
You're welcome.
Listen, I bring a plus one anytime. Anytime
a plus one, anytime you get a chance. That's cool. I mean, we already had your wife. Now you got your oldest son. This is like a family adventure. We're good.
A family affair,
this
man.
Is a weird fucking prison that you live in, man.
Haven't you seen Narcos?
No.
Dude, Pablo Escobar owned a prison where his family can come visit him.
Wow.
So yes, that's my goal. It was a good show. It's honestly, if you have Netflix and have time to watch it, I mean,
it's on my list.
I don't mean to spoil the ending, but Pablo Escobar dies, man. I know it's crazy.
Can I mute you? Oh, okay. I mean, jeez, man. I didn't.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Fuck.
I'm sorry.
Or my bear ball actually. If I was
because it's not well known. It's not well documented. He was killed, but just sorry. He doesn't get away with it. You might root for him, but
all right. So I'm gonna finish up here. I'm going Trevor Bauer. I get this guy is supremely talented, but I'm worried about the fact that he's only had 2 seasons out of 8 where he's finished under a 4 ERA. This guy just seems a little off to me. I don't know what he does, but his ADP is way too high for me to trust the fact that he's going to stay under 2 or under 3 ERA. In the low 2 ERAs with the strikeouts will be there, but that's really my only worry with this guy. So I'll take the Darvish over him. I'll take the Bieber over him and things like that. And Bauer just drops down my list because I just worry that he's going to go, oh, well, I'm not on a contract year. And so I can just play around pitching with one eye in the first spring training game. Get the hell out of here.
That's what I was doing right here. Which one am I throwing at you? Huh?
Left, right. The
problem is he's throwing the ball.
I don't know. I can't see.
Yeah, that's the
Somebody
issue.
Quick, dodger me.
Yeah.
F. Trevor Bauer. You're never, ever going to live up to Jack Bauer standards. So just go to hell.
Jack Bauer.
What are you talking about? All right. Spring training players
Pitch
that we are
24 hours straight
targeting
as a little clock ticks down.
Yeah, AJ's in full swing mode now that we're over an hour and a half, which is fantastic because it means he talks a lot. So, players that we're targeting, infielder, who you got, Mike?
Eloy Jimenez. No, that's not in the right position.
They're moving him to short.
Yeah. Well, he can't throw with a torn pec.
That's his shoulder's problem.
Or it's a shoulder, whatever it was that he ended up having. Infield, I wish I came prepared with the infielder. Hold on, I'm looking at ADP. I'll give you one in a second. Tai France is a cheap answer, but he's a guy that. Well, no, we talked about a lot of my guys.
Why don't we take a second? AJ, you go.
All right, fine. I'll go.
Fine. Put you on the spot. You already prepared.
Mike Moustakas.
You guys made fun of me for trying to talk about him on the show when we were doing the draft prep. So you know what? Yeah. Go ahead though. Go ahead though. Eloy. No, you're good. You're good.
Calm down, Eloy.
No, you're good.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Good,
all right. Quit climbing the fence. You couldn't have caught it anyways. All right. 16 feet past the fence.
Couldn't, which was stupid. Anyway, go.
Jackass. All right. Well, clearly we have talked about Moustakas, mostly you, according to you. But he holds first base, second base, third base eligibility in Yahoo and Fantrax, first and second in ESPN leagues. You know, look, yeah, he's older than dirt. It sounds like he might regain third base in every league, but the power is unquestioned. Yeah, the runs probably going to suffer because, you know, he plays on Cincinnati's baseball team, and they still have one of those. They don't score a lot of runs, so he will also not score a lot of runs because of that. His average, well, to put it bluntly, it's average enough. I mean, it's not going to crush you, but it's not necessarily going to help you because it's an average. But you don't care for that at 116. You're not chasing average when you're drafting your player at 116. If you are, guess what? You're also doing this wrong. Stop. I don't know. I mean, he's got power. He's got RBIs. He's got probably a mustache, or should, because his name sounds like mustache. I mean, what's not to like here as a late 9th, early 10th round pick to shore up your corner infield and middle infield slots all with one player, especially when you play in a league that you don't have those roster spots. Utility.
I love it.
Boom.
I love it. And he's my starting second baseman in our league because I pass on all the freaking second basemen.
Such a fucking gloating Gary over here.
Hell yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gloating Gary?
Gloating Gary. I've never heard it. Hey, by the way, do you see this comment?
No.
What's up with the blank wall, Kurland?
Oh, I saw it. I started laughing.
LA. Yeah, I laughed. I wrote back and said he's in prison tonight.
Yeah, I'm live from Alcatraz, man.
Live from Alcatraz. I love it. All right, Mike, are you ready with yours, or should I go with mine?
Well, it's just the same names, man. I hate to do it, but like Ketel Marte is a guy I love.
Yeah,
the exit velocity. Well, the exit velocity is there. He was gonna regress coming off from 2019, but he's a guy that he's gonna bring multi-positional eligibility, second base and outfield.
Sure.
He's a guy that's gonna give you a little bit of power, a little bit of speed, batting average. He's kind of giving you all of that. Plus, we talk about second base being kind of terrible. Well, he gets to be plugged in right there. So he's a guy that I tend to find myself really targeting in drafts. And we're seeing him crush home runs in spring. Health can be a bit of a question mark, but he is absolutely crushing. He has exit velocities like over 114, which is like as good as it gets. It's top, I think he has like 1 or 2 in the top 10 overall in spring. So in general, like Ketel Marte is a guy, and I have a bet with Justin Mason. I have Ketel Marte.
Careful with that.
He has Keston Hiura, and we're gonna go off the Razzball Player Rater. Winner or loser has to wear a one piece on a live stream. One piece.
You just bet a guy that wears a one piece like daily. to
But
wear a
it's-
one piece. So like,
but
is this really a bet for him?
It was the first thing that came to mind.
It's a
That wasn't
win-win
mine.
for him.
I think
he's just
it's a win-win for all
easy.
of us. Well, here's the thing: he's taking a picture and posted it on Twitter, but
Yes.
to have to live it and do it on a live stream, I think there's a little added something.
I don't know about that.
But
for him,
in all
man. This
seriousness,
guy
though,
feels
I-
like he has no shame. This not gonna lie,
I have no
but
shame
it's okay.
either. So
All right.
part of me is hoping I lose. No, I'm kidding. But this was
Do you
this was
really
so,
know?
this was self-serving. No, but in all
that's
seriousness,
awesome.
it was the first thing that came to my mind, and he kind of laughed. He was like, "Sure," like he doesn't care, and I don't
No,
care.
not
My
at
thing
all.
is, I don't care either. So I think it'll make for great 30 minutes of internet fun,
Yeah,
and
you
forever.
guys are like.
I hope
GIF-
somebody makes a GIF.
You,
Won't be the
you
first
both are
30
like
minutes
gift magic.
I've wasted
by
on
way.
the internet watching.
Um,
So
All right,
Listen,
so
30
my
minutes of a man of me, this man in a one piece, a giant one piece. Oh yeah,
no,
that's
no.
that's must see TV.
Define One Piece.
Oh, it's like a
Is this
wrestler.
like a
It's like-
pajama
it's
with
like a-
footies
no.
One Piece.
It's
or
like
is
a
this like-
wrestler.
It's like a swimsuit one
piece.
piece, like a
Yes.
legit like a ladies swimsuit one piece.
Okay, so a wrestler's One Piece is called
No.
a singlet, Joe.
They
Get some
basically are.
fucking
It
knowledge.
really is.
Yeah.
That's basically
Let
what
me
Justin
find
Mason
it.
wore. That orange singlet one piece thing that he has with his face on the front. That's like a wrestler
Yeah.
one piece. That's basically
I
what
wish-
he has.
I wish I
Okay.
could find.
All right. While you're looking for it, I'm
Whatever.
going to give my infielder here. that
Here,
I'm
let's see if I can.
targeting.
You go ahead.
Mine is Paul Goldschmidt. I know you just shat on Arenado, but I feel like he's going to make enough of a difference for Goldschmidt to like bounce
There it
back
is if you wanna
just
see it.
slightly. And
Where?
I'll throw it up in a second. So I feel like
All right, hold on. Let
first
me get a
base
beer.
is
Keep talking.
first base is one of
I
those-
agree with you on Goldschmidt.
first base is one of those positions where like if you don't get one of just like second base, like where if you don't get one of the top end guys, like you struggle filling it out. And Goldschmidt's one of the last guys that I'm comfortable drafting, and he's going at a value in my opinion, because I think he's going to bounce back a little bit with a little bit of line of protection. I don't think Arenado is going to be as bad as you think, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near where he was in Colorado. So I like him a lot. And if you miss on him, you're having to go with guys like Dom Smith and Muncy and Josh Bell, and no, not at all. So do I really want to show this? Screw it. We'll go for it.
Yes.
I've never put this in here. Yeah, hell yeah. There's Tony, the wrestling
Nice.
singlet, man.
That's not
So,
a
yeah.
singlet. That is a one-piece bathing suit. That
But
is
I
not a
told you,
singlet.
man, it's a singlet. So yeah,
That is exactly
Not a
what
singlet.
one of us will be wearing on a live
oh, good lord. All right, outfield, Mike. Who you avoiding, or who
stream. You
you
asked
targeting?
for
Sorry.
this. You brought me on. You asked for this. Okay.
And you people wonder why I eat erasable pens.
I am the part of the problem there. I'm part of the cause. All right, outfielder. Like another Franchi Cordero's a guy I was getting a lot of, but that was before COVID, so I don't want to go. And I talked about a lot about Franchi. Grisham's a guy I've been a lot in on now. I'm buying time, obviously. A guy that I honestly, there's just so many, man. Outfield is, we talk about this. A guy that I've been
Pretty
in on a lot lately, Jared Kellnick. I'm just taking my shot on him in drafts.
Yeah.
I finally got my share of him. Kellnick's a guy that I want to just take a chance. We talk like I build a
Even
team
with the
usually-
injury, you're not worried about
well,
that?
he's back and he's playing. So
Is he?
we're
All right.
yeah. It's just there's service
I
time
missed on
manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's-
Well,
he's
yeah. I guess that's what I meant to say. Sorry, I don't know why I said injury. I knew he had the injury, but yeah, the playing time thing is gonna screw him.
He's gonna probably miss the first few weeks of the season. So when knowing I want him in drafts and I'm targeting him heavily and with like conviction down the stretch here, I'm building for him. And what I mean by that is I'm building a solid base, a solid foundation of stats across the board. So I can take on waiting for Jared Kellnick. And it goes back to pairing him with another guy. I'll give 2 for 1 here. I'll take Cedric Mullins. He's a guy that we talked about a little bit, so I don't spend time on him. But leading off speed, give me that. I think he'll do that for 2 to 3 weeks at least.
Yeah.
So you give me Mullins.
Then you can
for
drop
2
him.
and then you can drop him because I have Kellnick coming up, or just keep him on the bench for depth because I play in deeper leagues. Whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. My point is there's replacement value there, and Kellnick's a guy I just want to take a shot on. I didn't get a lot of early shares, so I'm paying the price now to get him now. But you have to build for him. You can't just take him if you're taking a whole bunch of upside up and down the draft. So he's the guy that, again, you build for, but if you build for him, I think there's a lot of potential there because outfield is so easy to replace later on.
It is. AJ, who you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to go a little off script here. I'm going to stick with the Reds and go with the Randy Arozarena before he was Randy Arozarena, guy who paved the way for him, and that is Aristides Aquino. What? The guy had 19 home runs in 2019. No, wrong. He's gone. So
I was gonna
again,
say, I don't think that guy's playing this year
of the yellow brick road of disappointment for Arozarena. So have fun on that path. I'm going with Lourdes Gurriel Jr., ADP of 85. I mean, I love this guy's upside, his ability to help you in all 5 standard categories, thanks to being part of a very solid and young lineup filled with Vlads and Bichettes.
What'd you call me?
Look, jail cell, just calm down and don't ever interrupt me again. All right.
You just got nicknamed.
Nice. Could be worse.
Granted, he's projected to bat 6th right now, so the at-bats, the loss of at-bats will help, suffer in his counting stats a little bit, but he also still holds second base eligibility in Yahoo leagues, maybe some others, but obviously he's not really going to be playing second, but he's a hell of a person to plug into your second base spot. If you miss on it, like Joe missed on it, and also missed on that Eloy pick. So that's huge. I mean, that's huge. Second base is pretty much the weakest position this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So my outfielder is Tommy Pham. I'm buying fully into this bounce back of his days where he was 2020. I know he was bad last season. I'm not really buying into that here. He started 0 for 17 to start the spring, so I was really worried when I bought into him in TGFBI, and I was like, oh no. But he's gone 12 for 23 cents, 2 home runs. His ADP still really hasn't climbed a whole lot, so I love the value you can get for him. So I'm targeting him big time. Mike, let's finish it off here with the pitchers. Who are you targeting?
I'm targeting. I actually have a name ready.
Nice.
He's a guy that is 100% roster on all my NFBC drafts, so it gives you an idea of how much I believe in him. It's Aaron Savale. Right. Doubling down on Aaron Savale this year. I was in on him last year, came up a little bit short. But he's a guy that I think he has a realistic upside of being your SP3 with an SP5 price tag. That's how I've been marketing him. I think there's actually a ceiling for more, but I think fair expectations is that he could be your SP3 with SP5 price tag. Mm-hmm. He changes arm action. He's having a good spring. He has the pitch mix. He has the command and control, which I'm big on. And then you have a team in the Indians who like to pitch their guys deep into games. So Savale is very much a guy that I'm just going to go ahead and take my shot on. The price is right. Usually he fits my team builds well. So yeah, give me all the Aaron Savale. Literally, I have him on almost every team. Yeah. Even my home leagues. Like I'm pretty much all in on him because again, costs nothing to do it.
Go, AJ. Who are you targeting in your
interesting that the guy in his own prison, shout out Creed, likes to follow somebody with some control. All right. Jack Flaherty, I'm going with ADP 30. All right. Yeah, pretty high. But take away the 9 earned run, 3 inning outing he had at Milwaukee last September 15th. And he had a pretty impressive season last year. He had a 3.13 ERA, 104 WHIP in those 8 other starts, which was 37 1/3 innings pitched. His K rate did drop slightly last year from 29.999999, repeating not quite 30, to a 28.82. Granted, he still had 6 strikeouts in that abysmal start, so that's what helped him keep that 28.82. his walk rate did increase from 7.1 up to 9.4 last year from 19. But look, he's still a top option in my opinion, and I would gladly take him to anchor my pitching staff if I miss on a Cole or a DeGrom in the first round, and start building, with position players. Probably outfield. I hear outfield is really good to take early, specifically from the two of you on this show. Oh wait, no, that was another podcast.
Are you listening to me? Jesus.
Another podcast. I never listen to you.
Of course you
out of
don't.
here. Jesus Christ.
Especially when I say shut up and let me move on. Yeah. No, I agree with you on the Flaherty pick. He's actually been my first pitcher in a couple leagues because I have waited, as I've mentioned I've done before. My pick though is Charlie Morton. It's probably the way I've been drafting, but I've seen to get him in a bunch of leagues because I have been hitting a little earlier. I might get like one or two, like maybe one of the top 15 guys early, like a Flaherty. But I haven't like loaded up on pitching early. I've been waiting to get a lot of those like middle tier guys. And Charlie Morton seems to be a guy who to me is going underdrafted. I know last year wasn't good, but you guys forget that, or at least it seems to be forgotten, that he was dealing with injuries. And so, he was dealing with a shoulder injury, and once he returned, he got his velocity back up. He was a monster in the postseason and stuff like that. So I think he's got the track record of being a near elite pitcher, and him going at an ADP of around 114 just seems crazy to me. So I'm buy on him every day. And if he goes around that time, I'm probably grabbing him a round or so early. But anyway, man, that is it for the show. Mike, before we let you drop out here, I want to let you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
Prison.
Man.
Oh,
I mean, you can't because you can't go online. I'm just kidding.
If you take collect calls, I'm your guy. I appreciate it.
Netflix shows. This is the collect call from Mike Kurland. From Florida State Penitentiary.
I will have a documentary on Netflix. I was innocent. All right, you can find me on Twitter.
So was OJ.
Well, we're buddies. We have the same lawyer.
No. All right.
I mean, what? I can't be friends with. Gosh, man. You guys are. You know what? You're judging me. I don't like being judged.
He's a great connection for some sports memorabilia if you live in Vegas or Buffalo or anywhere that murders happen. Oh wait.
I hear he has a real grasp on the situation.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pun because the whole glove thing. Anyway, I'm really bad with that.
You must have quit.
I'm really bad with dad jokes. Don't mind me. All right. That's part of the perk of following me on Twitter at Mike_Kurland. I appreciate you having me on. The host of the Bases Loaded pod. The lineup stuff, if you're interested in checking out the chart, it highlights everything, notes. It's a lot. It's pinned to my Twitter. You can find it there. It's a Google Doc. The support for it has been crazy. So it's like, honest, I'm super proud of it. I'm just a little late, so I don't feel like going too much into it. But in all seriousness, I appreciate you having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun as always.
Yeah, man. Good talking. Yeah, long show, but like a lot of good information, man. Like, this is what. It's not your fault. This is one of our longer shows every single year because it's kind of like it's like the big wrap up of the spring, and like we go into like division previews, or in the past we've done position previews. So like we really focused on those, and this is the time where we finally get into like all the ins and outs of like what's been going on, and so it's good to have somebody like you on who's been really like focusing on all of that, in tune to everything.
Finger on the pulse.
I've been doing the best I can, but you are way more on it than I am. So it's great to have you on, and I want to make sure we keep in contact and get you on again this season, man. It's been good. So
absolutely.
So with that said, we're gonna let you bounce, and AJ and I are gonna say our goodbyes, and we will talk to you later, man.
Take it easy, man. Thank you for having me. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.
All right, AJ. That's all we got, man. Yeah, it's a near 2-hour show, but it was a good one, man. So cheers to the whole draft season shows. Next Thursday, we're doing our opening day fun show. let's have fun with him, man. We'll have a few more beers and just kind of chill back and do our overreaction to all the home runs and, and bad pitching performances that happen on opening day. Cause that's what we do. So, all right, man, peace out. We will see y'all next week.